Chairman McKay, members of the Standing Committee of National Defense, good afternoon. I would like to start by thanking you for the invitation to appear before this committee. I appreciate every opportunity to share my views from the Taiwanese perspectives. The topic today is a situation in the Indo-Pacific. As I dive into this topic and try to sort out my findings, I encounter the difficulty of focusing only on the Indo-Pacific. And the more I look into it, the more I'm convinced that no region in the world is exempted from the geopolitical complexities we face today. And what is happening in the Indo-Pacific is unavoidably related to those taking place in other parts of the world, and vice versa, notably Ukraine, Central Asia, Africa, and Middle East. To many of us, the most unnerving geopolitical risks today are to be found in the Russia-Ukraine war, U.S.-China rivalry, North Korea aggression, and tension in the Taiwan Strait. Perhaps the war in Ukraine looms larger and more imminent than the other potential conflicts. But as we have witnessed, Russia, China, and North Korea gradually move to cuddle each other closer, forming a cohesive alliance to help buttress their regimes to thwart what they perceived as external pressures. We must realize that our struggle goes beyond the Indo-Pacific. In between Russia and China, there has always been more of a mutually supportive economic and diplomatic relationship, not to say a hardcore military cooperation. However, as the Russian invasion of Ukraine gradually faced uphill battles, the Russian-Chinese relationship seemed strengthened to a stealthy semi-military alliance, with North Korea recently invited to join and form a trilateral bloc. One dictator is hard enough to predict, imagine three. Antony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, gave a major speech at the School of Advanced International Studies, SAIS, in Johns Hopkins University last week. He said, and I quote, "What we are experiencing now is more than a test of the post-Cold War order. It is the end of it. There is a growing recognition that several of the core assumptions that shape our post-Cold War era no longer hold. Decades of relative geopolitical stability have given way to an intensifying competition between with the authoritarian powers, revisionist powers," unquote. Media quickly pick up the gist of Mr. Blinken's speech. The post-Cold War era is over. A new one dawns. A proposal from Mr. Blinken is to adopt a new concept of diplomatic variable geometry, quote unquote, to cope with the challenges of the incoming era. I do not fully grasp the meaning of the concept yet, but I'm sure as we forge ahead, the rivalries between democracies and autocracies will only magnify as time goes on. To conclude, I would like to point out that in the beginning of this year, we might still think that the most serious geopolitical uncertainties came from the Ukraine theater, U.S.-China confrontation, Korea Peninsula, and the Taiwan Strait, as I mentioned earlier. But as we look forward from now, the somewhat unexpected rapid downturn of Chinese economy and its spillover effect may well overshadow other regional concerns. Potentially, China's economic failure can be the biggest geopolitical risk in the years ahead. What we have seen in the Chinese economic difficulties may be only fermenting. If China's economy continues to deteriorate, and with nothing to hold it back, the consequences will most likely not stop in its economy, but will be a combination of social, economic, and political emergencies. It will likely be a systemic crisis and overall transformation affecting every aspect of China and spilling over to regions beyond. In short, there is a huge uncertainty hovering over China. For Taiwan, much is at stake in terms of our cross-strait relations, and I'm ready to respond to your questions. Let me stop here. Thank you.